One more game for the Blackhawks before the Olympic break. We're going to hear from Jeff Blashill and give you the lineup and a whole lot more coming up next on the CHGO Blackhawks pregame show. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks pregame show live from the Xfinity Loft. We are presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use our code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Thanks, everybody, for being with us ahead of the final Blackhawks game before the Olympic break. Hawks and Blue Jackets. Yeah. Today is unordinary.
Not ordinary.
There is a ton going on, including, not related to the hockey nonsense, but including a big game, air quotes, week, Die Hard sale happening right now. 60% off Die Hard memberships. That's $32 for your first year, which I believe is the lowest price it's ever been. 32? I think 36 has been.
Yeah.
So
Probably.
32% for the first year. You're going to get all the perks and benefits of being a CHGO diehard for $32 for the year. It's regularly an $80 price. So jump on that this week. Go to allchgo.com/intro-offer-social, or simpler, allchgo.com/Super Bowl.
That's simpler.
I like the dash one better. It's more fun.
Backslash. Another backslash.
Yeah, get yourself
easy to find.
Get some new merch.
Good deal.
Take advantage of it. Lots of good stuff coming.
I can't imagine the Die Hard deal we'll have when the Bears are in the Super Bowl. We'll just be giving Die Hard memberships away for free.
$18 for the year in memory of, not in memory, he's not dead, in celebration of Caleb Williams.
In honor. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, well, we've got the
first.
Hawks and the Blue Jackets going at it tonight, and
It's the biggest thing going on in hockey right now.
This game almost feels like, the Hawks are playing, but there's 5,000 other things going on. I think we're going to save the bulk of that for the post-game show.
We have more time.
But if you missed it, some things you should catch up on during the intermissions. Artemi Panarin is a king.
Traded.
Traded to
the Kings.
Gavin McKenna is an alleged felon.
No, he
hasn't been charged yet.
Arrested for and charged with. Yeah. Boy.
Anything else?
Samuel Savoie got suspended for.
Yes, he did.
For tomfoolery. What else is going on? There was another trade too earlier today before the
Nick Bukestad got traded to the Devils. That'll fix him.
That's on the way.
It's
Who are we
a
talking
wild
about?
day.
Caleb Jones.
Caleb Jones, a PED
former,
suspension.
Former Hawk had a contaminated substance, apparently, according to him.
That's always, anytime there's a PED suspension, it's, I was taking a supplement and no one told me that these things were in it.
Okay, sure.
We're, of course, going to hear from Jeff Blashill, too. But I think some of the, before we get to that, the importance of finishing strong here, right? It's
you want to win this game.
This is a team that is 9-1 in their last 10. They've won 6 in a row. The Jackets are red hot, and I say they're due. They're due for a loss.
Yeah, 9 wins in their last 10 games, including one over the Blackhawks. Charlie Coyle hat trick night. Who could forget? They've won 6 in a row. It would be nice if they were due for a loss and the Hawks could win back-to-back games going into the Olympic break. That would be really good for the mood and the vibes for the group. And, as we kind of talked about it the last few days, these guys still have playoffs on the mind, even though it's a stretch and a reach, and Kyle Davidson's going to be selling when they get back from the Olympic break prior to the trade deadline. The guys in the room are still looking at it as we're chasing for the playoffs. And those games they matter to them for that cause, and that's what we wanted for this group to have. So this is another one of those games where it's a team that they themselves are chasing the playoffs. Even though they've won 9 of 10 and 6 straight, they're still 5 points out of the playoff spot, the last playoff spot in the East, but they're still pushing for it, Columbus is. So this is a game that has meaning for both teams. So you want to see that last game before the break. You want to see who's going to take it more serious. I think that's going to be a big factor, is who's going to show up for this game, who's already on the plane to Cancun in their mind, and who's in Columbus ready to go for puck drop.
Well, here's the way the Hawks will line up tonight. We're going to hear Jeff Blashill's explanation here in a few minutes. It is a massive file, and it is downloading very slowly. You've got Bedard with Nazar and Bertuzzi, Moore with Teravainen and Burakovsky, Dickinson with Donato and Mikheyev, and Foligno with Dokken, Slaggert, Vlasic, Crevier, Kaiser, Rinzel, Grzelcyk, Murphy. So Lafferty and Green are your scratches today.
And Levchinov.
And Levchinov, of course. I don't like the fact that Ryan Green is scratched. I think that there are other candidates, and we've talked about this a lot with Andre Burakovsky, where there should not be separate rules for veterans and for young players. Maybe Ryan Green's had a couple games in a row that have not been great, but I can go back probably about 10 in a row, 11 in a row for Andre Burakovsky where he's not been great. Mm-hmm. And beyond being not great, you could probably argue a detriment to the team. So this is, and look, I think for the most part, Jeff Blashill has pushed the right buttons this year. I think he's gotten a lot out of this team. There's been several opportunities where they could have just collapsed and fallen into the abyss, and they didn't. Those excuses have been there several times. Mm-hmm. I think he's doing a good job. I also understand that he has forgotten more about hockey than I will ever know. I also know that he sees things in the game that I don't see or can't see. So I will acknowledge those things if Jeff is watching before the game starts.
Which he usually
That's
does.
a given. But I don't like the fact that, if you look back 10 or 11 games ago, he's playing really well. Okay. So is Artem Levchinov.
Right.
So is Ryan Green. Like, I don't want different rules for different guys. And I think that can be frustrating for a young player who, as he's talked about a lot, like the grind of the season, you're going to expect ups and downs. I don't think every down should be met with a benching.
No, I think veterans and rookies get different treatment when it comes to their play, because when you have more of a book on a guy on what you have seen from them, not just in one season but throughout their careers, you give them a little bit more of a leash. But I think when you have such a team as the Blackhawks are, where they have so many guys that are younger, you kind of have to curb that a little bit. You can't treat every young guy as he's fresh rookie, got to figure it out, like with in and out of the lineup, all that stuff. You're going to have to eventually take that same approach with some of these young guys. Like, play your way through it. We've seen you, Frank Nazar. We've seen you, Ryan Green, play better. We want you to play through it and find that again. But I think with young guys, and I've seen this point made, and we've kind of talked about it too, about just the amount of time that they've played, the amount of games they've been playing, and this schedule. Maybe this is an opportunity where you wanted to get Foligno in. You've liked how Dokken and Slaggert have played in the last couple of games. Green might be a candidate for a mental and physical break, one extra game before he gets the Olympic break. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but it's an easy excuse to do that, get Foligno in, and go from there.
I guess so. Let's see what Jeff Blashill has to say about it, because I'm annoyed by it.
Do you want to get Levchinov back in today, or just sit in the...
No. Artie will not play tonight. Just, again, part of kind of what we were doing. Gave us a chance to kind of reset his foundation, and then we can build on that when we come back for those 5 days, 6 days, whatever practice we have, and then we'll go from there.
You have a bunch of guys who played in college and, either a year out or 2 years out, and with your own experience there, is there any adjustments as they get to, I guess, fuller schedules or?
Yeah, and I would say it's so there's no schedule like the NHL schedule, and then you compound that with the fact that this one's a super condensed schedule. I don't care if you played college, major, junior, in the American League. There's nothing like what our guys are facing, and so there's just I don't know any other way to learn except to go through it. And you kind of as you go, the biggest probably thing is finding ways to be effective when you don't have your best, and that's something we've talked a lot about. Obviously, we've kind of talked about it on back-to-backs, but I just think it's true as you go through the season, because you're just going to not necessarily be at your best every night. So then how can you still be effective in some way? And every guy's a little bit different, but certainly using the efficiency within your game, I think, is an important piece of that.
Do you think there's extra emphasis tonight to get a win before the break?
Well, I don't know. There's extra emphasis. I mean, I think every night is a super important game in this league, and they're 2 big points against a team that's obviously been as good as anybody in the league over the last stretch here. So, but every night's an important night in this league.
Getting Nick back tonight?
Foligno?
Yes.
Nick will play tonight.
What have you seen from him overall this year? Just what does he bring to the room, veteran presence-wise? And how much growth have the young guys had just because of his influence?
Yeah, I mean, he brings unreal perspective. Obviously been in the league a long time, been around the game forever. I think he's an excellent leader. I think he's done a great job being, I've asked him to be kind of a papa bear with our young players to help them in their growth. I think does a good job being an extension of the coaching staff in a lot of different ways. And he's been an important player for us as well. So, I can't say enough good things about him as a human being, number one, and then as a leader. He's done an excellent job.
Are there measuring sticks when you can, when you're in the position that you guys are in as a younger team, and you look around the league and you see an Anaheim, Columbus, different teams that are kind of going through the same thing and maybe at different stages. Are there measuring stick games where you look at it and be like, oh, well, we can be there if we do this or that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, from a coach speak standpoint, every game's a measuring stick, but
Sure.
is that, are there certain times where you're like, okay, where are we at in comparison? Maybe, we've talked about that a little bit with Anaheim, a little bit with San Jose, just in a sense they're, obviously in the same conference and think of them a little bit more probably in certain timelines. But Columbus is a good example. You've been able to infuse some young players. Obviously, you got some established superstars in their prime. Specifically with Zach, that's a guy that's a superstar in his prime, and and we'll get to that point at some point where we think we have guys that are continuing to develop and hopefully become those great players in the prime. I mean, I think Connor's already a great player. Obviously, the injury took a little bit, but he's been playing really well lately. But so as a hockey team, we're is it a measuring stick? Again, we mostly focus on ourselves and just making sure that we're taking incremental steps to becoming the type of players and team we want to be.
Brazil brought up Werenski as a guy he's studied. Do you see any similarities there?
Werenski skates so well. He's a tough comparison. There are very few guys that skate to that elite level. Certainly Sam's a good skater. He's fluid. He wouldn't be quite as powerful as Zach is. But Zach's, obviously he had the opportunity to develop his body over a number of years comparative to Sam. So, is there comparatives? Somewhat. They both want to be guys that are able to skate with the puck and attack up the ice. And in that comparison, yes. I think, Sam's looks a little different than Zach, but certainly, Zach's one of the best players in the league, and I think has been for a long time, and a tremendous amount of respect for him as a player. And if Sam can learn a little bit from him, great.
It may sound weird to say that he maybe have gone under the radar a little bit for a few years, but he makes things look so easy.
Yeah.
Do you think that's part of it, where it's just maybe it doesn't look like he's skating super hard, but he's actually skating very hard?
Yeah, I do think there was a stretch there where he was probably underrated. I've thought he's been one of the best defensemen in the league the whole entire time, and I honestly was a little bit surprised for a little stretch there, where maybe he wasn't getting the love that I think he deserved, and he's getting it again now, and he got it, early in his career. But he's a guy I know when you're on the other bench, you always know when he's on the ice, both offensively and defensively. And he's one of those guys. He's such a good skater that he can play such an attack game because he wins the race back, And I get a chance to be around him a little bit. Dylan Larkin and him are obviously really good friends, so I've got to know him a little bit as a person. What a great person as well. So tremendous amount of respect for him.
The last time that the two teams played, your most dangerous line was Connor Bedard with Frank Nazar. You've had them together for a little bit. I just wonder, what have you learned about that particular line, maybe some of the rest of the lines? Is that something that maybe longer term you want to keep them together? Or?
We'll see. Coming out of the break, I think Bedard will be in a position to take more face-offs, so that'll probably change some of that. I thought we needed a little bit of a spark, so we put them together. I think they're both good enough players. They can play separately and make their lines that much better as well. So it's something that I don't think is necessarily an all the time thing, but we can dabble in. But was lucky enough to coach other centers that play together like Zetterberg and Datsuk, and so you could kind of put them together when you need sparks, but they could play a part as well. And I think that's an important thing. And ultimately down the road, we're going to have a number of guys that are probably have played a lot of center, but it'll be a situation where you play them together, and sometimes who's ever low is low, and they kind of learn that chemistry. And I think Connor and Frank have done a really good job that way. Ultimately, I think the line is good because they're both really good players.
You've had points in 5 out of your last 6 road games. Is there a magic formula to that?
Man, if there was, I would be bottling that up. I think you have to. I think ultimately the biggest thing is not giving up easy chances, and that's anywhere, but on the road specifically, because that's an easy way to let momentum build the wrong way. I'm a huge believer in momentum within games, and if you give up easy chances, and especially if those lead to goals, man, the momentum builds. So we have talked throughout the season about on the road, in back-to-backs, things like that, making sure that we don't feed the opponent's momentum.
How you viewing the break as like a much needed step back for the team, or I guess how you view the break in relation to the
I'm viewing the break that see how long it takes my family to get sick of me, because that generally happens. But listen, I think every play in this league, like, it's just been it's a grind of a schedule right now, and so certainly we'll take advantage of that, the time off, and then when we get back together, I think it's a great opportunity for us to kind of rebuild our foundation and fundamentals, both individually and as a team. And we have one player that will be in the Olympics, so we'll have the majority of our team together. So that's a pretty unique opportunity.
Coaches are always looking for ways to improve where are we going wrong, type of stuff like that. It could be easy to overlook, joy and having fun. Are you enjoying this season?
Yeah, I honestly have totally enjoyed this season. Love our group. We've done a really good job of not carrying the previous game, whether it's a win or loss, with us. We've learned from it and moved on, and super excited to go to work with this group every day. I think every day you're in the NHL is a super special day, and this has been a real fun group to be a part of. We've got a great mix of veteran guys and young guys, and they all have brought great energy to the rink every day.
How would you assess Burakovsky over the stretch? Do you need more from him?
I think the 10 games, last 10 game stretch, he hasn't been as good as he was. The previous 10 game stretch, he almost carried us. Especially if you look at our own scoring chance differentiation, he was our leader over the previous 10. This past 10, he's got another level. That he's going to get to, and he'll get back there. That's the ebb and flow of the year. It's the ebb and flow of when you don't feel it, your confidence takes a hit. But I thought he played good the other night overall, and I know he'll get back to that level.
Have you seen, I guess, how Kaiser's bounced back since Pittsburgh?
Yeah. I mean, Pittsburgh is a little bit of an anomaly for him. Like, he's actually, over the course of the last month, I think, played pretty consistently well, with the exception maybe of that game. I think his games actually continue to grow. I think he's a better player than he was at the beginning of the year. And again, that speaks to, you forget how young he is too. Like, you get lost with the fact that the groups, how young some of those guys are that we consider almost to be veterans. So I think Kaiser's game's definitely gotten better. You can see him skating out of his own end with the puck. It'd be almost being a self breakout at times, which is a real valuable thing.
All right, that is Jeff Blashill, the extended jam edition, courtesy of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Cut.
I almost used a term used in adult documentaries. The key moment, not the money blank, of that interview was him saying...
That's definitely the first thing I think of.
I don't know why they... Oh, maybe I do. Anyway, he
boy.
said, talking about Andre Burakovsky, let's get serious. Come on, it's
This is
Hawks Blue
serious.
Jackets.
Let's go.
February
Lock in
4th.
for the last
Lock
game
in,
before the
everybody.
break. What
All
was I
right.
just talking about?
Admits that Burakovsky has struggled over the last 10, and he said, however, the 10 games before that, he was one of our best players. So we went to Al Gore's internet, and we found some statistics, and Chloe made a graphic of said statistics, and here they are. So the last 10 games, Andre Burakovsky has a .392 expected goals for. That's a 35.5% expected goals for percentage. The 10 games before that, he was a .70 expected goals for with a 49.1 expected goals for percentage.
Those numbers are better.
That's significantly better. Scoring chances, last 10, 34.92%. The 10 before that, 47.96%.
Those numbers are better too.
Significantly better. Individual expected goals per 60. Last 10 games, .35. 12th among forwards. The 10 before that, .66 expected goals per 60. That is 6th amongst forwards. 13th in individual chances for. The last 10, the previous 10, he was 3rd. So he's correct. Those statistics that he mentioned are reflected in the actual numbers. And remember, the concussion happened... I wrote it down. Where's the concussion? November 20th.
Okay.
So almost a month had passed before those numbers even came into play.
Yeah.
So it's not like concussion date forward.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've seen his ice time decrease over the last couple of games. So he's obviously been aware of it and kind of acting accordingly. We've seen him taken off the top power play unit. Move down the lineup a bit. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll see what happens tonight, if Burakovsky's noticeable for good reasons or bad, or just indifferent. Honestly, I would take indifferent at this point. I don't want turnovers from him like we've seen in the last couple of games. And you got the break. You get a bit of a reset built into the schedule. So hopefully that's a benefit for him, and you see where he's at coming off of it. You see where all these guys are at coming off of it. But I think to just, to scratch Ryan Green for inconsistencies in play and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of it because you could do the exact same thing for Burakovsky. You've done the same thing for Levshinov. I think I think if it continues beyond the break, then obviously you have to do something with Burakovsky because you can't just let him continuously be one of the worst forwards and keep giving him opportunities that you'd rather, or a lot of people would rather. I don't know if the coaching staff where they're at, they should be on board with giving those opportunities to some of the younger guys to see what they can do with it.
It's not that Burakovsky is playing that bothers me. It's that Ryan Green is not. That to me is the issue, because I know over the last 10 games, people have been saying, including Greg, just get rid of Burakovsky. Just punt on him. He sucks. He's terrible. I'm not there yet for a number of reasons, because he has been good, inconsistent a little bit, but you got him for Joe Veleno.
Incredibly inconsistent.
Right.
Yeah, you got him for
The reason you got him for Joe Veleno was because he is an inconsistent guy with some top six potential.
Yeah.
Right? So it was an inexpensive move. Even the salary isn't that bad. You only have another year after this one of it. So it's kind of a no-brainer. He's been good more than he's been bad. There have been moments where he's been really, really good.
He's still your third in scoring.
Yes. So I'm not ready to punt on the guy yet, but the issue for me is, again, what message does it send? Of we are on the ice when this guy is turning the puck over and it's leading to goals, and he is still on the power play, and he is still on the second line. Meanwhile, I have a bad game or two, and I'm on the bench. That is aggravating for a young player. And I hope that the coaches go to him and say, look, it's not a punishment. You got a long break here. Maybe they wink, wink. We want to give our veterans some games here. So there's a little more film on the veterans heading into the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think you really need to understand or explain to Ryan Green why. You need to explain to Ryan Green why exactly he is sitting tonight and Andre Burakovsky is not.
Yeah, I would imagine that conversation went something along the lines of, hey, you've played a lot of games. Maybe you might be feeling a little bit of a slip. We don't want you to slip all the way down to the rock bottom of your season, so we're going to give you the rest. I'm sure that's the explanation that they're probably giving to him. Because I would say if you match up, because as we were going through those stats with Burakovsky, individual expected goals per 60.
Yep.
For Burakovsky over the last 10 games was terrible.
0.35.
12th amongst forwards. You know who's first?
Ryan Green.
Ryan Green. 0.86 per game at 5-on-5, of course. So, I mean, again, like analytics, you matched up with the eye test. Sure, has Ryan Green been, the guy that was paired on the top line with Bedard at times and, making those kinds of impacts? No, but I wouldn't also say he's been a liability, a hole in the lineup. So I tend to agree with you and disagree that, Ryan Green shouldn't be sitting for play purposes. I think if you're trying to say here's a extra day of rest for you, fine. He's young. I don't think I think with a 2-week break coming up, you don't need the extra 24 hours.
See, but I would almost be more on board with it if we were not a day, 4 hours away from the Olympic break.
Right. Yeah.
If it was last week and he had 3 bad games in a row, all right, let's pump the brakes, sit a little bit. But to do it today, I don't know. You know what? When the Hawks are winning Stanley Cups or competing for Stanley Cups in 3 or 4 years, no one's going to care about this conversation. Burakovsky's going to be gone. Ryan Green's going to be part of things, probably.
Sure.
So we're probably making a mountain out of a molehill, but it's the one thing I would say about Jeff Blashill this year that I've kind of disagreed with is the different consequences for different guys. I don't know. It feels a bit frustrating, and I would imagine that Ryan Green feels the same. Before we get to the game, starting in a few minutes here, you saw a very interesting tweet from Aaron Portzline, who covers the Ass Jackets over in Columbus.
He does, and he does cover the Ass Jackets very well. Very commendable job from Aaron. But he points out in a tweet earlier this morning, says, yes, Upper Arlington residents. I don't know where Upper Arlington is in Ohio.
It's where the Bears are building their stadium. Arlington, Ohio.
That's true. Yeah, it's been Ohio this whole time. He says, yes, Upper Arlington residents. That was Chicago Blackhawks team bus rolling through yesterday. Former Blue Jackets captain Nick Foligno is back in town with his team, the Blackhawks, and he had the entire team, staff, and traveling party over to his newly built digs for quote-unquote happy hour, hashtag March 6th.
For those that don't know, March 6th is the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. So is Aaron Portzline alluding to the fact that Nick Foligno will be traded to the Blue Jackets?
I think that's exactly what he's doing.
If anyone knows that,
it would be Aaron Portzline.
It's Aaron Portzline. Yeah.
Prior to seeing this tweet this afternoon, I had zero thoughts of Nick Foligno actually being traded. Now I have at least one thought.
Okay, but if he's retiring at the end of the year and just settling his family in Columbus,
sure, I don't think he's abandoned Columbus at all.
Right.
I think he's probably still has. Well, obviously,
Yeah,
he
the best
built,
years of his
obviously
career
built
there.
a new place in Columbus.
I would
so
imagine that organization has something for him when his career's
he's
over.
he's got a ton of roots in that community for sure.
All right, well, let's not. We got to get to the game. Let's not blow all this
Eventually,
conversation.
but I just
because we have an Olympic break.
I just think it's very interesting that Aaron Portzline would go out of his way to put all those implications in there. And look, like Columbus, they're still on the outside of the playoffs right now, but they're hot. They're on a run. If they get into that playoff picture and they say, you know what, the warm fuzzies of Nick Foligno being back here for a playoff run might be worth giving a little bit extra than he's worth to the Blackhawks, and it would suck. I've really enjoyed having Nick be a part of this organization, getting to know him a little bit, and the role that he's played as a leader of the group and captain and everything has been very commendable. But if that's his decision and he wants to do that, I mean, that's another roster spot open. You're obviously opening up the leadership role, and you're getting something for a guy that prior to 10:20 a.m. on February 4th, I thought would get you nothing because he wouldn't be traded. So I don't know.
Ken Johnson, Connor Bedard's best friend. Make it happen.
Why not?
All right, we'll talk to you in the post-game show after Hawks and Ass Jackets on CHGO Blackhawks.
We all silly like the mayor.